Hello and welcome back to Reddit Aloud. You're here with Friday. Here's a post from TIFU. This time titled TIFU by downing 2 liters of apple juice and not appreciating the effect this has on the human bowel. By Throwaway 1984 UK. Remember, if you're enjoying the content, to like this video, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications. Now I hope you're sitting comfortably. Let's begin. Obligatory throwaway account, and this actually happened earlier this week. And #X200B. TLDR at the bottom. And #X200B. My job is driving around shops and putting out displays, leaflets, POS, etc. I had one particular call that involved moving lots of heavy stock and building some massive displays. 2 hours of very heavy manual labor left me literally dripping in sweat and craving a nice cool, refreshing drink. Before leaving the shop, I went to the fruit juice chiller. £1 for 1 liter of apple juice. Or £1.50 for 2 liters. I love apple juice, so I'll take the 2 liters please. And #X200B. I drank the first liter in the 2-minute walk back to my car as I was incredibly thirsty. My next store was about 45 minutes away, so get in my car and crank up the aircon. And #X200B. Drink the second liter of apple juice within the first 5 minutes of my drive and start to feel refreshed, so stuck on a podcast and settled in for the drive. And #X200B. 15 minutes until the end of my drive and I start to get a bit of cramping in my stomach. Think to myself that I'll use the bathroom at my next store. And #X200B. 10 minutes until the end of my drive and the cramps are getting worse. Do a little lean to the side and try to let out a blank to see if that helps. Feels like I better not push too hard to try and get that out. And #X200B. 5 minutes until my destination and circumstances are getting worse. I'm shifting in my chair to try and get comfy. The urge to go is getting pretty urgent. I look for somewhere to stop that might have a bathroom, but nowhere looks promising. Consider pulling over and running behind a tree or something, but stuck in slow-moving traffic, so decide to clench and push on. And #X200B. Pulling into the car park. I try to park as close to the store as I could and get ready to literally run through the store to their bathroom. I park and lean over to the passenger footwell to pick up my jacket. That was a bad move. The lean to the side has compromised my clenched sphincter. The dam gives way and the floodgates open. And #X200B. I feel warm liquid fill my boxes. It stinks. But in a way there is a small relief as the intense stomach pains are almost gone. And #X200B. I sit there in a puddle of apple juice that had just rapidly passed through my digestive system and contemplate my options. I do what any sane man would do and call my wife. And #X200B. Hello? Quote. And #X200B. Blank. I've got a problem. And #X200B. Oh no. Are you okay? Have you been in a crash? Are you hurt? And #X200B. No. I've blank my pants and don't know what to do. And #X200B. What the blank? That's blank hilarious. What are you, a toddler? Where are you? Quote. And #X200B. About an hour and 15 minutes from home. And #X200B. Oh my god. Well, you can either go in the shop and get some trousers or drive home. And #X200B. At this point, she's still blank out of me, but I'm quickly distracted by an all too suddenly familiar feeling in my stomach. Round 2. And #X200B. Oh no, there's more coming out. Quote. And #X200B. What the blank? Are you actually blank yourself right now? Quote. And #X200B. It's disgusting. I can't stop it. Quote. And #X200B. Now round 1 was just a preview. Round 2 was the full show. It was pure liquid blank gushing out of my blank, and there was nothing I could do to stem the flow. And #X200B. I end up just making weird noises and have lost off ability to communicate. Imagine the worst blank you've ever had, but you're sitting down in a car seat whilst doing it and your wife is listening via the hands-free. And #X200B. Oh no. It's breached the waistband. Quote. And X200B. Up until this point, everything had been contained in my boxes, but I suddenly felt wetness creeping up my lower back. And the awful smell getting stronger. If you've ever had a kid, remember those awful blank that come out the top of their blank and all up their back? Well, that is happening to me. A 37-year-old man, sitting in a company car, over an hour from home. And X200B. Eventually the torrent subsides and I have no words for how I feel. I am literally sitting with my boxes full of liquid blank which has overflowed up my back. I feel exhausted and wet. I swear the entire 2 liters of apple juice is now in my pants. And X200B. I'm coming home. I'm literally covered in blank. And X200B. Asterisk retching noises from wife, asterisk. And X200B. You're repulsive. Give me a call when you're 10 minutes from home. And X200B. I start the most uncomfortable drive I've ever experienced. Every gear change was creating a ripple effect with the blank liquid. Every time I would accelerate or brake, the liquid would slosh backwards and forwards. And X200B. The next issue was letting my boss know that I was going to be home early so wouldn't be able to complete my calls for the day. But what could I say? I've just blanked myself in an explosive way whilst sitting in your company car. And X200B. I say that I've been ill and am heading home. Didn't elaborate any further and he said to speak to him tomorrow morning and let him know how I was then. And X200B. So I drive home, getting cold as the previously body temperature liquid was getting cooler. I call my wife when 10 minutes from home and she says she's going to wait in the back garden until I've sorted myself out, and she put down a bin bag in the hallway for me to stand on and blank off. And X200B. I pull up outside the house and come across my latest problem. Standing up. Despite the incident occurring over an hour ago, there was still a lot of wetness down there and I knew that as soon as I stood up, gravity would take over. And X200B. I slip off my shoes and leave them in the car. Take a deep breath and go for it. As I stand up, I can feel the wetness trickling down my legs. Within seconds it's below my knees and I'm still a few steps from the front door. By the time I get there are drips coming out the bottom on my trouser legs, leaving a blank breadcrumb trail up my garden path. And X200B. I get in the house, step on the bin bag in the hallway and close the front door behind me. And X200B. You can look through my house and see the back garden from the hallway, and I see my wife staring at me with her hands over her mouth in disgust. She immediately starts retching and runs off down the garden. And X200B. I start to get undressed. Trousers first, and it is not a pretty sight. I put my boxers and trousers in the other waiting bin bag. There is no way they're getting salvaged. And X200B. Next comes my top. What I had forgotten at this point was the waistband breach and the fact that my lower back was also covered. And X200B. As I take my top off, I feel a wet smear going up my back and it dawns on me. There is blank on the bottom of my top and I'm not spreading it all over myself. Already in too deep. I take the top over my head and end up smearing more blank in my hair. And X200B. Now blank in the hallway and literally covered from head to toe. I start using the supplied pack of baby wipes to get the worst off. I then follow the trail of bin bags up the stairs to the bathroom to shower. And X200B. I have the hottest, longest shower I've ever had. I was in there for a good half hour. The initial 5 minutes was probably the worst as all the blank was accumulating in the shower tray, leaving me standing in a blank water puddle. And X200B. I even used bleach to clean myself. And X200B. Eventually I felt clean enough so got dressed. I went downstairs and was met with the absolute carnage I had left the hallway in. The most horrendous smell, but with a small hint of apple. And traces of blank everywhere. And X200B. My wife stayed out in the garden for the next half hour whilst I sorted it out. I don't blame her. I would have done the same. before she finally came back in the house and sprayed a whole can of air freshener. And X200B. She stood looking at me, a shocked look on her face, and just said, "What the actual blank?" Quote. And X200B. I had no real explanation. I just didn't make it to the toilet in time. She asked me if I felt ill. I felt fine. She asked me what I'd had to eat and drink that day. I said I'd had nothing out of the ordinary apart from an apple juice. When I told her how much I'd drank, she just burst out laughing. And X200B. You basically drank 2 liters of laxative. Quote. And X200B. She then explained to me how apple juice contains high levels of fructose and should only be blank in small quantities, hence why it is sold in smaller bottles than Coke, etc. I did not know this. And X200B. I then remembered the car. I had yet to see the state of this. And X200B. I went out armed with a bucket of warm soapy water, bin bags, wipes and rubber gloves. And X200B. The smell when opening the car door was like nothing I'd ever experienced and immediately made me retch. But I knew what had to be done. And X200B. I won't go into too much detail, but I was out there about 45 minutes and it wasn't pleasant. And X200B. All of this happened 3 days ago. I'm currently having to sit on a bin bag in my car and there is still a lingering blank, slightly apple-scented smell. Any advice of cleaning car upholstery would be much appreciated. And X200B. My wife has said that this is going to take her a while to get over this. And X200B. TLDR. Drank 2 liters of apple juice in 10 minutes. Didn't know this would have a laxative effect. Explosively blank myself sitting in my company car whilst my wife listened on via the phone. Had to drive an hour home covered head to toe in blank.